Yeah.
Oh, there we go. We're live. Oh, shit.
Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back?
What do you guys want to talk about? What do you guys want to talk about?
Well, today, well, what the hell? Won't talk about anything. But
My screen came up and said that we're having trouble streaming on Facebook.
Mike, yeah, screw that. Oh, come on. You are shit. I'll fix that in just a second.
Okay.
We'll just do it and then put it on Facebook later if we have to. Anyway,
Okay.
Well, let's do our introduction before we do anything else, since we already
All right.
fucked that
Do you
up.
want to butcher her name, or do you want me to try to do it?
Oh, hell no, you're butchering it. Oh, better
right.
yet. Oh, hold on. Better yet, let's have her say her own name.
Perfect.
So let's do it this way. It's been we were supposed to have her on a month ago, but through problems that we could not do or deal with, or she could not deal with, we had to postpone it. And then we were supposed to have her on last week, but well, we had a little storm come through here, so we postponed it another week. Yes, and this week, well, I'm proud to have this one. I worked my ass off to get this interview, and I'm proud of this one. And we're gonna put her on screen.
It takes Mark so long. I'm so sorry about that, Beatrice.
No problem. Hello, guys.
How are
Hello.
you?
I'm here finally. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you guys. Yeah.
Don't worry.
Perfect.
Don't
I'm
worry
at my aunt's house in Maryland. We just
Don't
arrived.
worry. If you hear Brian just not hear him, that just means that his thing went mute again.
Okay. Yeah. Good. So yes, it's Bupley, kind of like Buckley. Like
Yep.
I think didn't there used to be like a cough syrup, Buckley's, way back when?
Might have been.
Yeah.
But
So I was saying Boepple
That's not
because
too bad. That's not far. But if
because there was a song that I heard on another podcast that
Bupley? Where I sang it.
Yeah, how does that song go again?
Okay, so this was when I was in 4th grade, and my best friend Jane sang "Bupley, Bupley Bee could not climb up the tree, so she fell straight down to hell. Bupley, Bupley Bee," and that's Bupley Bee. Ooh, Mark, I see something in Mark's background that I really like. But I guess
Is it the book?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed that book. It took me about an hour and a half altogether.
Right. It's a quick read. If you really sit down, it's not a long read.
I like the fact of that, how you went out of your way to give us an explanation about the family backstory, and then led up to everything all the way up to the death of Freddie. And like I told you, he was one of my most hated horror figures ever. I lived on Elm Street, so yeah. In the first movie that came out, he flipped me out, and I had not watched it since then. And until the other week, what I think it was 3 days before we were supposed to have our first interview.
Oh boy!
But, that was the first time I watched that, and then I watched all the way up to 5, and then I said, "Screw it, I'm done."
But you did watch 5.
Yes, that's still
We've
one
seen
of
them
my.
all. Trust me, we've seen them all.
Okay. Well,
unfortunately, we even seen the reboot, and we were just like, oh.
Well, there's a new one out. It's called Dylan's Nightmare.
Yeah.
It's only 30 minutes long, and it's not bad, and it's a great start if they want to try to build off of that. The Freddy that they used, oh my god, he was tremendous.
Oh really?
yeah, he didn't have the voice more so, but he had the mannerisms, the facial features, everything of Freddy. Not like the 2010, 2011, whatever. You know, I didn't like that one.
Well,
Well, guys, hold on. We're so far off track right now because we've
Right.
introduced Beatrice.
But not even
But
really.
we didn't really do a real introduction.
No,
Who
we never did.
Who is Beatrice?
Yeah, who is this woman?
Okay, first off, you know, hold on, wait a minute, Brian. We normally start any interview off with one question.
Yep. How are you doing today?
Oh yes. Well, how am I doing today? Well, I'm super hot because I'm a hot woman. No, I just had some. I had some wine with my dinner because I'm staying at my aunt's house. And if any of your listeners probably aren't, but if anyone watching is an old lady in menopause, they might relate to me. Ever since I became an old lady in menopause, wine makes me like, I just break out and I get so sweaty and hot. So I'm like sweaty and hot right now. But anyway, but I'm happy, hot and happy. And I'm always happy when I'm at my aunt's house. So we're in the middle of driving my son to Washington, D.C. We'll take him in tomorrow, where he is going to be an intern with a senator for one of his school semesters. He's in college.
Wow.
Yeah, he's studying to do, he was going for environmental science and sustainability, trying to reverse some of the damage that our generation has done to the planet. And he's feeling that maybe policy is more the way to go, that might be more effective than science. So he's checking that out. So we'll see. But if he does decide to go in that direction, then that means he'll need to go to law school. Then that means even more money. So I got to do more conventions.
Yeah. We're going to have to get you in another movie.
Yeah, you know, well, conventions actually pay more than movies for the most part. Well,
Oh, wow.
well, it's certainly not more than, you know, big studio movies, but for independent horror films that I've been cast in this year. Yeah, that's definitely not for the money. Let's put it that way. The money is.
She will be in a movie that starts filming next month, and it's a Friday the 13th fan film called Blood Loss.
Yeah, with
and we will have their director and some of their castmates, or some of her castmates, on in October.
Very cool.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
he's got quite a big cast, right? He's got Ari Lehman, the first
Yes.
Jason. He's got oh, you know, I'm getting confused because I know Ari's in this one. I've been cast in 3 different Friday the 13th fan films, and it's kind of you know, I don't know which ones will or will not actually happen. It's tough with independent film, you know, because people are trying to get the funds together. They're trying to get this and that together. It's definitely not guaranteed that it's going to happen.
Yeah, some of the fan films, they make their goal. You know, not all of them can be lucky, like you know, like Peter Anthony did. He made his goal for Laugh within 10 minutes.
10 minutes. But you know what? With Peter, honestly, I think because I had the great fortune of meeting him. He came out to one of my conventions to meet me, and he gave me a copy of his previous film,
Roseblood.
And you know what? Watching the film, seeing, you know, the quality of his production, you know, for a low budget indie film, you know, with mostly unknowns, man, he put a really good production together. And more important than that was the relationship that he clearly made with his cast members and his crew. They love him, you know, and
they love him. And
they love him, you know, and the fact that speaks volumes. You know, he cares about what he does, and he cares about the people, and he does it right. And that's why he was able to make money so quickly, because people believe in him, you know, and he's proven himself.
He's been on our show a couple of times. He was on last week? No, 2 weeks ago. He was on.
Smart, isn't he? Like just a really lovely guy.
Well, I look at him and I'm like, the first time he was my very first guest on any show or any one that I've ever really done. He was my first guest, my first one ever when I wanted to try to get to be on a podcast and stuff. I was like, Peter,
virginity.
Yeah, that's what it was.
It was your first one.
Yeah.
Yep.
But he was.
Peter, you're watching this, you were Mark's first.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm still trying to figure out.
He popped
to
his
get-
cherry.
I'm still trying to figure out why it's not working on Facebook.
Buddy, I don't know. It's on your side, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out.
They might be mad at us for some reason.
It wouldn't surprise me. You know, your mouth runs.
Oh,
You play music.
whatever.
No, you play music. That gets us in trouble.
What'd you do?
She hit the wrong button.
Oh, no. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Guys, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty. Mark's going to figure out this. Do you want me to edit this and try to...
I don't know what
I don't
to
know.
do.
I don't know what to do either.
I've never had this problem.
Save changes. Boom. I can delete it, and then you can try to put it back on there. I'll remove Facebook, and then you can put it back up there, right?
Yeah, try removing it.
Okay, I'm going to remove. Save. All right,
Holy
so Facebook's... What?
It wouldn't let me take it off, but it lets you.
Yeah, so Facebook's off. So now can I add it back?
Yes. That's what I'm doing now.
Okay, you can do it? Okay. Sorry, guys. This is what happens. We got some technical difficulties.
Oh no,
Well-
that was terrible. I suddenly, like, you guys just, it disappeared. I don't know what happened. And suddenly I couldn't find you guys. And I was like, oh my God, this is cursed.
We got it. We got it. We're good. Nobody touch anything.
We're back
I can't
on.
see any of that.
Yeah, I seen that. We're back on.
Back good.
Ladies and gentlemen, we had a few minutes of Facebook difficulties, but we're up on Facebook Live now.
Hi,
With
Facebook.
Amanda Kruger, or as you may know her, Miss Beatrice Boepple. I'm still butchering it.
Bubbly.
Buepple.
Bupply.
Bubbly.
I could say that.
There you go. Remember, I sang you the song and everything.
You did.
Yeah. So, anyway,
I'm just really bad at messing people's names up. People do it to me all the time. They're like, "It's Elm, right?" No, it's definitely not.
yeah.
Oh, they always like messing mine up. Ben Setti.
Ben Setti.
Vincetti.
That's
In Canada, they could get away with it, but in the United States, they can't.
mm.
All right, so we got some questions. Mark's got a ton, I know. We don't want to flood you with a bunch, so we'll just kind of have casual conversation, and we'll just kind of go back and forth. And if you got questions for Mark or anybody or me, whatever, feel free.
She's already been screwing with me today. So.
Yeah.
Mark's like, you listen, she didn't know, or she was messing with me about what time the show was, and I was like, are you kidding me, Mark?
Yeah. Every time
Yeah,
I told him, I actually even gave him my phone number on the promise of death if he ever gave it out. But I said, all right, you know what? Because I've messed up so many times. Here you can have my phone number, because it wouldn't be that I would forget, like, for any other reason than I'm forgetful, and I'm a little old lady. My face deceives me. People don't get it. I'm 61. People don't believe it, but I am. So, and actually at 61, I shouldn't be losing my memory, but I am. So I had said to Mark that, I'm going to see my aunt, and, we're sitting down for dinner, so I'm sure I'll end up forgetting. So call me and bug me. So he's been bugging me. And he sends a message. I'm like, each time he sends one, it's in an hour, or it's in 2 hours, or whatever. I'm saying, like, what? What's in 2 hours?
exactly.
Each time
like,
I made a question mark, or like,
yeah, like I said this morning, I sent her the link, and she was like, "What's this for?" But see, it was supposed to be a longer thing that says at the end.
I wanted him to scroll. Like I said, what's this for? And then I went space, line, all the way down, and then joking with a smiley face. So I wanted him to just see that, and have to scroll down to see that I was just joking. But no, you guys, I felt, oh my God, I felt so terrible that first time, because I did. And I apologized because I forgot. There was literally, I couldn't say, oh, I was in a car accident or this, that, the other. I mean, I forgot. And the worst part was, it was on my calendar. I was sitting at the computer, right? I'm sitting at the computer ready for the interview, but I was really super early. So I started, futzing with Facebook, this, that, the other. And I found this video by people who were working for this company that my son was going to be going to work for. So I was watching that. I got really into it. And then there was another one and I got really into it. And I was like watching and dum-da-dum-da-dum. And next thing I know, I think if the interview was supposed to be at 8 o'clock, it's like 9 o'clock, 9:10. And I looked down at my phone. I'm like, there's all these messages from Mark, like, are you okay? Where are you? What's going on? And I'm like, oh. And then I watched you guys' stream, that I felt like crapo, like horrible. I would never do that to anybody on purpose, ever, ever, ever. I hate making people wait, like for anything, like if we're going to meet for lunch or something and we're running a little late. I hate it. I don't know. It really bothers me, and it really bothered me.
Hey, you made up for it. We appreciate that. So thank you.
Hey,
yeah, that's cool.
You were the first person that has actually missed one of our interviews that actually called me and everything and made it right. And then when we had it all set up, you were like, I might have to miss this one too. And I'm like, oh, that's okay. The hurricane's going to come in, so we're going to cancel it anyways.
Yeah, and we had a little hurricane.
I wasn't going to have an interview or a show tonight because I wanted to watch the Lions play.
Oh,
but I said because of you, I decided different.
Oh, you could have watched the Lions. Oh, that was sweet of you. Well,
I'm still watching it.
Hey, wait a second.
I have the TV on, but I'm fully focused on you.
Listen, I don't have a TV on. You can see it's in the background back there. I don't have the game on, so.
Right. So at least Brian's paying attention to me.
Hey, absolutely.
No, I would never say, hey, look, I'm going to have an interview and then be like this the whole time watching the TV.
Yeah,
no,
that would be really mean.
Yes,
but yeah, it was funny though because I did, when you were on my calendar, and then when we were trying to figure out when to drive my son down for his moving into DC, which he moves in tomorrow, I was like, oh, well, we can stay at my aunt's house, because we're free Thursday. And so we talked to them and we were going to drive down today. And then after arranging with my aunt is when I looked at the calendar. I'm like, oh shit.
I really thought she was going to cancel again. I really did.
There's no way I can there's no way I'm going to cancel on these guys. So I called my aunt and I said, I know we're coming down, but if you don't mind, I'm going to scoot out for, 45 minutes or an hour or something. Cause, I explained to her and she was okay. And I said, just please make sure. And I told her, I told my uncle, I told my son, I told my dad, I told Mark, remind me every half hour. Everyone's been.
Well, that's what I was doing. Actually, truthfully, if you would have canceled this time, I would have put you in October.
Yeah.
With the rest of them. I wanted to have, I'm trying to get nothing but horror icons and whatnot. Yes.
Yeah. For all of October. Yeah, it's going to be great.
I have CJ Graham coming.
Oh, awesome.
I can't wait for that one either.
Fabulous.
Mark's texting me. He's like, Brian, do you know who CJ Graham is? And I was like, well,
no.
Mark, I said, I know the name and I just can't picture the face. And he goes, he was Jason.
Right.
I was like, oh, nice.
Yeah. So Freddy Krueger's mom, you got Jason, you got lots of good stuff going on.
That's what I want. So let's first talk about, how did you get the role of Amanda Krueger?
I slept with all the people. No, I'm just kidding. No,
the 100 maniacs.
Yeah, all 100 of them. Well, one of them kind of. No, I'm just kidding. No, I have to say, I shouldn't actually really joke about that, right? Because it was a big deal in Hollywood. I was very fortunate in that I never had any of that kind of creepy stuff happen to me, except that after I would be cast. So I never had the casting couch ever. But numerous times after I'd been given the role and during filming, the producer and or director would, come on to me, but that was it. But anyway, but no, for Elm Street, I had just moved to Los Angeles. I'd been living in Vancouver where I had started my acting career. I had gone to theater school there and I was in plays and movies and TV and stuff, did all this guest starring stuff. So I'd worked with Johnny Depp already on 21 Jump Street. I'd worked with Richard Dreyfuss and Emilio Estevez and Stakeout. I'd done all kinds of stuff, including starring in my own 2 films in Canada. So I was kind of like up and coming in Vancouver, doing very, very well. But I moved to Los Angeles at the height of my career for relationship reasons. I wanted to follow this dying relationship. So I followed my boyfriend down, and the first audition I got was for Nightmare on Elm Street. And I went in, and people have heard me tell this story before. It was the one and only time where I actually was cast there on the spot. I sat down with the director and the producer and the casting director, and we talked about the character of Amanda and whether or not she was, what level of dead was she? Like, is she a ghost? I mean, she's dead, but she's brought back to life. So is she, how do we play her? Should she be ghostly, like all, ooh, you know, how should she be? And we just had a really nice rapport. Stephen Hopkins, you know, I ended up singing for him and all kinds of silly things. And then they were like right there on the spot. They're like, okay, it's you, you know, and I didn't know what they meant. And they're like, no, you've got the part. You're Amanda Kruger. So I've never had that happen before. And I, you know, I sometimes wonder if was it just that they were in such a rush because everything was really rushed on that set that, you know,
at that time, yeah, they were trying to get them out once a year at that point in time, I believe it was.
Yeah, no, it was really crazy. I mean, there's a lot I could say about that, but anyway, but yeah, maybe they were just like, come on, okay, the next person who walks in, if she's able to speak, we'll hire her. I don't know, but they gave me the role, so you know,
I'm gonna add.
Or that I look so much like Freddie. Like as soon as I walked in, they're like, "Oh my God, yes, that's her." I can see the family resemblance. Let's cast her.
I was gonna ask. I mean, if they would have taken the story to a deeper level, as far as, because I know in the story, and forgive me, but I don't remember the first person that played Amanda Kruger.
Nan Martin. She was in
she was
in part 3, right?
Yes, she was an older woman.
Right.
Yeah.
But if they would have taken the character of Amanda and done what they did to more like Jason Voorhees' mom,
right,
where she was the behind the scenes kind of, would you have still been super excited to play that role? Would you have taken it, you know, a step further on your own to?
Yeah. Oh, I would have been fine, you know, if she was, you know, evil and villainous. I mean, that's, you know, I think most actors will say it's a lot more fun to play somebody evil than, you know, because Amanda Kruger's not evil, right? She's just this nice,
right.
I mean, and again, I had not seen Elm Street 3 before doing 5. In fact, I'd only seen Elm Street 1. I'd only seen the first one. I'd never seen 2, 3, 4 before I was cast, and it was happening so quickly that I just went ahead and did it. And in retrospect, I am glad I had not seen it, because I honestly did not even know that Amanda Kruger had been played before. And I'd never seen that performance. And when you look at them, it's very different. I mean, the way Nan played her is very different than I did. And maybe that's a little icky for fans, but for me as an actor, I'm glad, because if I had seen her performance first, I would try to have matched it and just played that same character younger, instead of finding my own interpretation. And my interpretation of her was very different than Nan Martin's. You know, and some people might prefer Nan's performance, but for me, I felt the heart of this character and the difficulty, which Mark will know from reading my book. That's what the book's all about, is kind of the struggle she went through right there. The Kruger's Curse, A Nightmare Before Elm Street, which is...
Ooh, where can we find this book?
Where can we find this book is on beatriceboepple.com. So you just have to know how to spell my name and add a .com. And I sell it at shows and on my website. But it's the prequel. So it kind of gives you the whole background story of Freddy Krueger, his childhood, and his relationship with Amanda, and his relationship with his creepy stepdad, and all that kind of stuff. It fills in. It follows the films. It follows what you learn in mostly in Elm Street 6. You kind of find out that he was married and he had a daughter, and he killed his wife in front of his daughter, and all that stuff. But I flush out those little stories. I flush out, you know, the jump rope girls. You know, what are they about? What is this stepdad about? What did he know his mom? What kind of relationship did they have? And it takes you all the way until he's burnt by the parents, and Amanda locks herself away to die. And so where the book ends is where Nightmare on Elm Street 1 would begin. So it's truly the prequel. But, I don't think I would have had that kind of insight and that depth of the character that I found had I watched Nan's performance. And I have nothing against her performance. It's a very cool, kind of a scarier nun, I think. She probably.
You bring it back to when Amanda's younger.
When she's young, and she's giving, a lot of people are like, hey, people often will say things like, why was she so young? It's like, well, because she was giving birth. When she gave birth, she was young. I mean, she wasn't really that young. She actually was in her early 30s, if you follow the chronology, which if you watch all the movies, the chronology, hi, Flash Entertainment, which is my director for one of the Elm Street, not Elm Street.
Friday the 13th.
Yes. Fan films where I get to play. Maurice, the director, is having me play Amanda and
okay. I know which one you're talking about. I've been talking with him about it, and I can't wait to see that one.
Yeah, and I can't wait to play Pamela Voorhees. I mean, what a cool thing to be able to be Freddy Krueger's mom and Jason's mom, But just for a second, back to the to that was Nan Martin's character was a very different character, and when you see Amanda in Dream Child, Freddy has brought her back, as my line says, you brought me back to give you life. He's each movie he finds a way to come back to life. So this one he comes back through being reborn again, tied in with Alice being pregnant, and so he brings his mom back. So of course she's young. She gives birth to him. And then the other question people say is, well, why does he come out all burnt? The first time when she actually gave birth to him in the beginning, of course, he wouldn't have been burnt. But this time, yes, because he's already Freddy. He's been Freddy for now 4 movies. This is the 5th movie. He's already a burnt up character trying to come back. So it's fine. I mean, they could have done it either way. They could have made him come out as a clean little baby and suddenly start to morph into burnt up Freddy, or just come out as that cool baby Freddy, which I love. I think it's one of the coolest props they've ever had. The only other thing, though, looking at it, it would have been kind of interesting if, as Freddy gets older, he grows up really quickly within like 5 minutes from the baby into Freddy. Yep. It could have been actually kind of cool if Amanda was aging as well. You know what I mean?
Right along with him.
Along with him, so that when you see her, then she is kind of old. That she's old too when she comes out into the church, but it was fine, whatever. There's no rule. What's the rule book of dead, the undead? The living.
Yeah, I mean, Freddy's story altogether, was all about dreams. Right. Getting to you from the dream. So exactly. Could it have been Amanda's dream of how all this transpired? Because they didn't really dive into it and separate that from any kind of other alternate reality. You know what I mean?
It depends on how, movies are interpretation.
It's perspective.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So,
just like I think I loved it that, Freddy is afraid of his own mother.
Yeah. Which it is cool. She's the one character he's scared of. And isn't it true for a lot of us? And I think, but if you read,
I'm no more, but I used to be.
Yeah. If you read the book, Mark, you got a sense, at least in that version, why he's scared of her. Because she represents love, the one and only time
the good in people. Yes.
And it terrifies him because that's the weakness. For him to have even an ounce of love or want or need is a weakness. So he spurns his mother because that, he curses her out, fuck you, you bitch, because he did have moments as a little kid where he actually loved his mom and wanted her, but he kept getting tossed aside because of his
the stepdad
and everything.
Yeah.
That he found that the only way to be strong was to not show any vulnerability, and so that's why he really relished getting beaten by him. When he's whipping him, we see that
with the belt,
the belt, and he's kind of smiling, all kind of creepy like. But
I think that it hurt him at first. It was like the pain, but then that pain went away because he was just, I'm used to it.
it makes you, I'm stronger. I'm
Yeah.
invincible. Like I can beat this. So he starts to like it and he starts to relish it, because that makes him a stronger person. And to see his mother, it represents that part of him that as a little child, as all little children do, he longed for his mother, but it was never satisfied. He had been given up for adoption, and he found that every time he had any vulnerability or love, it would end in pain and separation. So best to just, forget it and move on and block it out.
Can I ask you, if you gave your book to someone to do a fan film off of it, would you allow that?
Well, Nick Benson, I don't know if you guys are familiar, the special effects for Elm Street 4, Elm Street 3, I think 3 and 4, and tons of other films. You can look it up. But he had read the book. He really wants to do a film of it. So we're talking about it. It's interesting. But what would be interesting is if we did do it, then we'd need to cast a young Amanda, because now I'm not the young Amanda. I can be the old lady.
That's all right. You'll get to find that person though. You got to find that younger version of yourself.
Yeah.
When you sit down at a casting and be like, it's you, just like they did to you.
I was kind of thinking of oh God, I'm terrible with names, and I actually met her from Terrifier. The dark-haired one in Terrifier 2.
Mark, who is it?
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. Yes.
Yeah.
She would be a great one.
Right.
But, Terrifier 2, 1. I can't wait for 3 really neither. But
my wife won't let me watch them because they have a clown in them. So
come over to my house and we'll watch them.
Lauren.
Thank you, David.
Hi, Dave. Dave is there.
I don't know why I couldn't remember her name. I've watched that movie a few times.
Lauren. Yeah. So
we'll put a text out to Lauren. Get her on the show, Mark.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
And then we'll have B show up, and then we'll be like, hey, listen.
Yeah. Well,
I've been trying.
We're at where did I meet her? In Kansas City, and we had a nice chat. I think she's going to be. I think we're all going to be in Scarefest. I think she's going to be there too. And Richard Dreyfuss is going to be at Scarefest. I'm so excited because I haven't seen him since we did Stakeout, and we had a really, really nice connection. Like I know he will.
That was long ago though.
That was
such a good movie. That movie was hysterical, dude. That's the one with Rosie O'Donnell, right?
No. Oh my God.
No. I told you that. No. How many times?
Which one is the Rosie O'Donnell one?
The second one. It is Stakeout, but it was
Stakeout 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was in Stakeout 1 and I refused. I have never watched Stakeout 2 because they didn't cast me again. And I was mad.
Did you ask?
Well, no, I didn't ask. I didn't know it was even being made. That was just rude. That was mean.
I'd be like, hey, listen.
Oh,
I'm just saying it.
Hi, Jeremy. Yay. So Jeremy was one of the producers on and actors. Actually has an amazing scene in The Dead Place, directed by Michael Pickle and starring, speaking of what? Come on, we were just talking about Terrifier. See, yeah. I'm an old lady. I'm an old coot.
I'm in that same situation. I'm
just terrible names. But, come on. So who's Art the Clown?
David.
Howard Thornton. Yeah. What is this with the 3-barrel names, right?
Oh, I got to meet him last year, and oh my God, that I'm still trying to get him on the show, but he's a busy man too. But
yes, he plays the bad guy in the one that Jeremy Dickinson and I were in. I play. I don't know if I'm supposed to say. Anyway,
you already gave up some of it. So
listen. There's only 2 people watching the show. It's me and Mark.
Okay, there you go. Well,
actually, there's 9 people.
Dave and Jeremy are watching it too.
There are 9 people watching this. 6 on here and 2 on Facebook.
There you go.
It's growing. We're getting there. People just get around the computer.
Yeah. Well,
we got Beatrice on here, so
when I have a podcast with John Henderson, Doomsday Crypt, and usually it's later at night that people sign on because we're on the East Coast and they're on a lot of the West Coast folks, it's too early. They don't get home yet. You guys are where?
We're on the East Coast. We're in Florida.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh my.
We're in Florida, and I'll tell you, we do a lot of shows with some guys that are in California, and you want to talk about some non-time zone people. My buddy Andy. We sent him the invite, and we're like, all right, we'll see you at 8 EST. EST is Eastern Standard Time. I don't know where he missed all that, because he texted me at 11 o'clock and was like, hey, I thought we were doing the show. And I was like, bud, that was 3 hours ago.
Oh no. See,
I messaged him around it was around 9 o'clock, and I told him, hey, look, what's going on? He was like, oh shit. Well, it's, I forgot about it, being that it was Eastern time.
Hi, Anthony.
Hello, Anthony. I can't wait till next month when you're on the show.
So Anthony, I was mentioning about our film as well. Looking forward to it. So he's got location set. We're going to be filming hopefully soon, right? And Facebook user who just said hello. I don't know who you are. You didn't sign in.
I don't know either. Sign into it.
Sign in or text your name so we know who you are. All right. So, but yeah. So those who came in, you guys can point out my beautiful book again. It's up there behind Mark.
Yeah, it's right there with Freddie, nodding his head.
Did you like the illustrations in it? They're cool.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
Really good illustrations. Yeah.
No, he loves the way you signed the book for him as well. He was stoked about that. He was like, "Oh my God, book back!"
Come on. I was happy to get it on Tuesday. If it wasn't for Labor Day, I would have had it Monday. But
see, there you go.
Yeah. See, I had it before she came on the show, so now it worked out perfect.
Yeah. So.
It's a great read. Mark's not going to spoil it for anybody, so you gotta go to Beatrice Boepple.com and you can order it there.
Yeah.
Or
Brian,
if you don't,
Truth Time. So you haven't read it yet, though. Yet?
I have not.
Okay, you got to read it next and let me
I'm
know.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
No, doesn't know how to read.
I've had many Fred heads read it and approve of it, and Fred heads are, that's the audience. Like if they approve, then it's good because, they know the stories inside out. They're not going to take some bullshit made up story that doesn't really work for the characters. And when I got the approval from them, it was like, all right, yay.
Yeah, I sent you back a thing, and like I said, I was completely honest. It was one of those things that I did not. I'm not a fan of Freddy, but you know what? It's a great series. But I wanted to show people. Where was it?
Well, in the meantime, while he's looking for that, so Mark. So just so you know, he's a huge Mike Myers and Jason fan.
Just alone that picture alone right there. When I seen that picture after reading the part,
right,
was enough to be like, oh my fucking Lord. And the bouts that you went about it, and the bouts that Freddie didn't have a chance in the world. I'm sorry. He did not have a chance. He was going to end up a sexual deviant or, a killer or something. He never had a chance, especially. But to know what I'm talking about, you got to go buy the book because I'm not going to tell you about it.
That's right.
I'm going to ask you one question, and this is going to be, when we first started talking, you said the one question that you didn't want asked is, how was working with Robert Englund? Well, this one's not exactly about working with him, but did you get to meet him before you started to see if you guys mashed up together?
Nope. And okay, so just in case, guys, why do I say that? Why do I not like being asked that? Only because everybody asks it on every interview, and I I've done so many interviews, and it's always how is it to work with Robert Englund? How is it to work
that I didn't want to know that. Now I told you I was not going to ask that, so instead I went a different route. If you guys match,
yeah. So what was interesting with this was, and again, a lot to do with the speed in which they were trying to go through this. You know, we had this huge warehouse and they had 4 different sets, full complete sets with lighting and everything going at once, which I've never worked on a film like that before. Usually, you know, you do all the filming on one set, you know, and they change the lighting and the different angle for each angle. And then when all that is used up, then they go to another set, you know, but this one, they had them all going at once so that as soon as the actors were done on one set, boom, they would dash and everyone would go running to the next set. The director would run with them and they would start, you know, filming there. So it was really, really a fast production. So when I met Robert, the very first time I met him, he was in full makeup. So I never once spoke to Robert Englund per se. I mean, with him, he was in full makeup, you know, because they didn't have time to be taking the makeup on and off, obviously. And because my character had no makeup, I never was in the makeup trailer with him. So I only worked basically with Freddie. You know, it was kind of wild. And so the first time I'm meeting Robert, you know, hi, you know, we shake hands and I'm looking and it's you know, it's Freddy Krueger. And, you know, 4 years before that, I guess, I was in college in theater school studying acting, and I watched the film with fellow actors. You know, I watched Nightmare on Elm Street 1. You know, there's this freaky guy, Freddy Krueger, and then 4 years later, I'm playing his mom. You know, it's like
who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thunk it?
It was really kind of crazy. You know, I'm looking at that face, but you know, that's the magic of acting. That's what I love about acting is, you know, I met him. You know, we shook hands. We probably
and it was right to work.
It was right to work. And, you know, when we got to work, then I'm Amanda Krueger and he's Freddy Krueger. So, yeah, you know, probably that's also another reason I don't like being asked that question, because I don't really have a lot of, you know, I have lots of anecdotes working with Richard Dreyfuss and with Emilio Estevez, with Johnny Depp, but with Robert Englund, I really was just on set with him for our scenes. And most of my scenes actually weren't with him. The only scenes, if you think about it, because I'm giving birth to him, he's not there. I'm locked away in the tower. He's
not there.
The church is the only one, you know, and even then, like from my angle and then from his angle, and then the weird Escher stairs at the end, I'm coming down the stairs, and he's way down here. And then it's mostly the baby Freddy, you know, and then the doors all closing behind me. It's not really, they're not with Robert. So, yeah.
Now, you also had, you did a movie, a TV movie with John Snyder and Tom.
Whatever.
Whoop. Now,
Hazard.
Yes, I was going to say the Duke boys, but you know, I wanted to say their real names and stuff. Well, at least try to. But what was that show? It was a Christmas movie.
It was called The Christmas Comes to Willow Creek.
It was. I actually I've watched that when I was younger. I watched that twice, both times that it was on, with my mom, and I actually liked it.
Mark's really into Lifetime movies.
It was one of those. Yeah.
Was it like that? Was it a Lifetime, like a Hallmark kind of thing?
Yeah, well,
yes.
Didn't it?
Before that, they had all that. Yes.
Okay.
It was actually pretty good. You know, they in the beginning they hated each other. You know, they didn't want to be around each other, but they had to take this truck and take it to I can never remember the name of the place, but Willow's
or whatever.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And you know, by the time it was over with, they mended fences, and you know, it was a good movie.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it definitely had that sort of Hallmark feeling. It's funny though, like that. I watched it recently, where you know I didn't watch the whole movie. I just fast forwarded to find my scene, and it was cut to hell. I mean, literally, I don't know if I even have. You know, I don't think I even have a line left in it.
What?
Speak? I don't think I spoke in it, honestly. So I don't even know. It's funny because Crazy Jack Museum. Hello, I don't know who that is. I don't think he's a fan of mine, whoever that is, because I don't recognize the name. But anyway,
what the hell? Yeah.
Yeah, no. Christmas Comes to Willow Creek. I think that was one of the ones where, both that one. It's funny that people mention that one, and they mention also the one with Sidney Poitier, Shoot to Kill, I think it is. Both of those, my scenes are like cut down to maybe 1 or 2 lines, if that. I don't even remember, or maybe just not even. My lines might have been all cut. It happens to actors a lot. Whereas I star in Quarantine and I star in Matinee, but I know they're Canadian, so nobody really remembers them. But yeah, it's one of the worst things if you're an actor and if you've acted enough, you are going to be cut, or parts of your scenes are going to be cut. I was in this film with Katharine Hepburn, and maybe people your age don't know who she is. Do you guys know who she is?
Yes.
Yeah, we know who she is.
So to me, like, she really, I'm never starstruck. I mean, there's actors I've loved to work with and I had great fun with and I have great respect for, but I'm not starstruck. She was the only one I've ever been starstruck working with, because she's like a legend. And I played her. It was a TV movie of the week. And she was a writer, an author of romance books or something. And I was the secretary for her agent. And so she would come in. So every time she had seen, every time she'd be talking to her agent, I would be there. And then we had this cute little scene together where she's asking me about my life and all this stuff. And so anyway, so I got invited to the premiere of the movie. I invited my agent and my boyfriend, and we go into the theater. And as we arrive, I see the producers, and I just, in retrospect, remember the strange kind of look came across their face when they saw me, and it registered, but I didn't know what to make of it. So I go in and I watch the movie, and as it's getting close to my first scene, because I was in like 3 scenes, and it's getting close to my first scene, I tap my boyfriend and my agent. I go, here,
it's coming.
Here's coming. And it was gone.
Oh no.
Shit. I said, okay, well, that's a bummer, but okay, here comes the next one. The next one was the really good one where I was interacting with her. So I'm like, okay, here comes.
And they cut it.
That was cut. And the third scene was cut. By this point, I'm in tears. Like, I'm in the theater sobbing, and I'm telling my agent, I'm quitting. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going to be, I give up acting. It's horrible. And he's like, shh, calm down. And, and then to leave the theater, I was so embarrassed. Like, I just wanted to slink out of there. And the producers ran up and caught us, and they were really, really sweet guys. And they said, we are so sorry. Your scene was the very last to go. We loved it. It was such a cute scene, but we had to cut. We had 4.5 minutes that we had to cut, because films, there's very specific time, and it cost, like, anyway. So to put out a film, especially a TV movie, there's a very specific length of time and that it has to go into, because they have to have commercial breaks and whatever. This was before streaming services. Mm-hmm. And the producer said, and by cutting one of your scenes, because they were not necessary, there's scenes that are not necessary in a film, right? Like, the story could still go on without it. They just add to the film. And mine, unfortunately, was one of those where, it was cute. It added a little more fun to the storyline, but the storyline could totally do without this. And so to cut my one scene, they had to cut all 3 because it wouldn't make sense then.
Just have you in one little small spot.
Because I'm prominent right there in the agent's office. So, the agent's scene, I guess probably the agent got all cut out too, now that I think of it. And I actually never even thought of that. But anyhow, so, and they were very apologetic, and they ended up casting me in this really, really cool film that they made called something Color Rainbow Wars. And it was this, I don't know how to describe it, sort of, because it was before, this was all before computer age, but they somehow had some sort of modern thing that kind of, it was half animated, half not. Like, a storybook opens and then you see all the human characters, like we're all running around in the storybook. It was this sort of fantastical film, semi-animated, that they used for Expo 87 or something. Let's go to Expo 87, whatever year. It was an expo in Canada, World Exposition, and it was for the Canada Place movie, and it was just very magical. Anyway, long story, but they ended up making up for it by giving me that role.
There ain't nothing wrong with that. Let me ask you though, because I mean, you still get paid even though you did the film and then the scene was cut.
Well, I got paid for the film for sure, but no, you do get cut out of residuals. You don't get residuals because you're not in it.
That really stinks. That part stinks.
I'm cut out of residuals, and also like in that movie, I'm not even in the credits. Where at least the other two, the ones we were talking about, The Christmas Comes to Willow Creek, that I actually do still get residuals, but I mean, it was a weird Canadian TV movie of the week. I think I get like a penny every few years.
Yay! Gotta claim taxes.
It's better than a bill. But yeah, at least, I still have the screen credit at least, but I do wish I had the footage from, I wish I had asked for footage. I don't know.
Director's cut. You need the director's cut.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
If they made it nowadays, they would go into their director's cut or, extra scenes or something.
Something like that. Yeah. That would have been great. Just like I've told the story way too many times, but in Stakeout, when we were filming, I had a scene in the kitchen when Emilio Estevez calls home, and then I have a scene in the bedroom with Emilio Estevez when Richard Dreyfuss calls him, and I come in and I get into bed with Emilio Estevez, and I have to sit there. And
darn.
Yeah, so I'm sitting there kissing him, and Richard Dreyfuss is supposed to be on the other line, and he actually came to set that day to deliver his lines, which was really classy of him, instead of just letting somebody else deliver the lines, because he wasn't going to be on the screen, but he was doing the lines. And then at one point, suddenly I hear threesome, and he comes running into the room, jumps into bed, sandwiches me between Emilio Estevez and him. I was like, oh my God, if I could find the footage, I'm going to ask him about that when I see him, because I'm going to see him next month at Scarefest. So
that is fantastic. So got to go back and watch that movie now again.
And John Badham, also, who's the director, ended up jumping into bed too, because he goes, I want to be part of this. So if I can find, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's thrown away, but I don't know. Maybe somebody's.
It might be is there a DVD copy of that? Because you know how like the deleted scenes and that kind of stuff,
I wonder.
those were always on DVD, like all the outtakes and stuff. Like
that's really
that's
cool.
the stuff that I used to love to watch. Like love watching outtakes.
Yeah, I love watching the outtakes, the gag reels, stuff like
Right.
that. It's always fun.
Yeah.
How many times you have to do a line and stuff like that. Let me ask you that too. So when you guys were at the church scene, right? The church.
Yeah.
And you are, I forget what your lines were, but I know you're
The whole of humanity, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many times did you have to do that?
Well, that actually, and again, this is why I feel terrible. Like I kind of feel like I shouldn't do any more interviews because I tell the same old stories, but they're it's what it is. Funny stories. That particular take took so many times, and the only reason it did, because like I said, on Elm Street 5, they were going fast, and most of our scenes, one take and it would be done. But that one I had to do at least 10 times, if not more. And the only reason was because of the pigeons. So they always say, working with babies and animals, that's the big
Animals is the worst.
And so they had these pigeon wranglers, and they had the pigeons were in these two cages on either side of the room behind the big giant doors. And then they had a person on each side to open up those big giant doors. And then they had another person who would do the liquid smoke. Liquid smoke, is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's liquid smoke.
Smoke.
Fog machine.
Fog machine, right. And so, action. They'd open the doors and this fog would come out, and then they'd be tossing these pigeons, throwing them at me, and I'm walking forward, your birth was the curse on the whole of humanity. I shall not allow it to happen again. You brought me back to give you life, but now I must take yours. Anyway, so I'm coming towards the camera being all dramatic, and I've got my hand out like this, and the first time their pigeons are flying around, and one lands right on my palm. Like, cut, so they had to gather all the pigeons, put them back in, blow away the smoke, close
Do it again.
Second time, one bangs me in the head as it's flying because they're tossing them. So it really, like, it literally bangs in my head. We had to do it again. Another time, one landed on my head and pooped on me. So, yeah, it took a lot of takes, not because of my lines. I gave great delivery. And Anthony, I don't know if you're watching still, but if you are, I used to be a one take, one shot take, one take, whatever. What do you call it? One
shot, one take. One.
Yeah. But now, as these guys will attest, my memory is like, So, and Anthony's film, luckily, I have quite a few lines. I think there's some really fun scenes. So hopefully, I'll remember my lines. But
Look, I just shot 2 commercials for Love Motorsports, and they were back to back because somebody didn't want to do their other commercial. So I was like, fine, I'll just do them both. And then I'm typically like, okay, I'm in, I do my lines. Let's go sit in the office. I'll read my notes into the camera and boom, we're done. Right. No, there was like 37 takes. I was like, come to Love. Where the hell are we again?
Oh, it's the worst when or especially if there's like a weird line that you just sort of flub, then it sometimes can become like this weird thing, and you start flubbing it over and over
over and over. Absolutely, I did. Yeah, I couldn't remember to put my name in there. Like he was like, okay, well, just don't forget to say your name. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Do the whole thing all over again. It's perfect. He goes, you forgot to do your name. You forgot to tell people your name.
I remember doing a film. I did some training film, and it was in Japanese, and because I could speak Japanese, and and so, but the script was in Japanese, and my memory, I was like going over these lines, and certain words I didn't know because I had lived in Japan as a little girl, so I'm fluent, or I was fluent with a kid's vocabulary. But these were some like adult words, that I had to use. And I would they were like tongue twisters, and I would get my tongue stuck over it. And those we had to do many, many takes. It's so horrible and so embarrassing. And also, like when I played doctors, I remember playing a doctor. I played a scientist and I played a doctor. One was on Danger Bay. This other one was this TV show called, anyway, can't think of it, a Canadian TV show. And I was playing this doctor. And so I had a lot of medical jargon, and those were some tongue twister, like,
Yeah.
Generally, like regular dialogue's pretty good, when it's just people talking. And as long as the script's written well, the characters, it usually flows. It makes sense what you're saying. But if you don't fully really know what it is you're saying, you got to really do your research and know what the hell you're saying. And it can be tricky when it's playing something like a doctor, a medical person. For the lay person, it's hard to get your mouth over those words. Probably the same with playing a mechanic or something that has a lot of lingo that we're not familiar with.
I can understand. I get it. Let me ask you, what about ad-libbing? Were any of those lines, did they allow for any ad-libbing onto any of those lines?
Well, in Elm Street, no. I don't know that he wouldn't have allowed it, but I didn't.
Okay.
My lines were I didn't have a whole lot of lines, to be honest with you. And then, the birth scene, I was just screaming. Stop it, give him to me. That is no creature of God. Yeah, I didn't really have, but there's been some films where there's a little bit of ad-libbing, but you don't want to do that as a rule. Richard Dreyfuss does it all the time, and he's hilarious, and he ad-libs and adds these funny lines. The problem with ad-libbing is then for continuity, you have to then remember what the hell you said and do it exactly the same if they're taking
every time. Yeah,
every single time. So, you kind of want to stick with the script. Not necessarily that all the written words are holy. It depends on, the writer and director. Some people are like, no, make it your own words. But you're better off sticking with something so that you're consistent.
Yeah,
for sure. It is already. I'm noticing it's already 9:00. I'm a babbler, but I do have to get back to the family. But did you have any?
We just wanted to make sure that you let people know what projects you have that are coming, and where they can follow you, where our fans can follow you, so that they can look for those films, where they can go to get the book. So it is your time, Miss B.
All right. Well, so Anthony Camino, am I not saying it right? Camano, who is our director for Blood Loss, Friday the 13th fan film that, with all things going well, will begin to film next month. I'm in it. Ari Lehman's in it. Check out their GoFundMe, Indiegogo page. But hopefully, if filming goes well this year, maybe that will be coming out next year. I'm not really sure. I would hope so. Another project which we have, Jeremy was one of the guests, or one of the people watching, is one of the producers, and that's called The Dead Place, with David Howard Thornton, and a wonderful cast with some really up and coming actors. You want to keep an eye out for that as well, called The Dead Place. I'm in that. And then Maurice, who was on earlier, is trying to get together, but it wouldn't even begin filming till next year, right, Maurice? His Friday the 13th fan film. And actually, well, there's a couple more that I'm in, but a lot of them are kind of in a wait and see kind of thing. They're fundraising. Oh, The Crow. I'm also going to be in a film called The Crow, a fan film for The Crow.
Is it a remake of
The Crow? It's called oh God, I wish I was at home in my office, because I have everything written down. Days of Sodom. And it's yeah. Okay. So people, if anyone ever sees this, and if I'm either not mentioning you or anything, it's only because I have such a horrible memory. I really do. And so now anyone who's directing are going, well, maybe we won't use her. No, I'm fine. If I have a script there, I can put it down and do it. But no, I've always been bad with remembering names. Anywho, so there's that. And then I have my podcast, DK and the B, are the Horror Buzz, and that's with John Henderson, my co-host from Doomsday Crypt. Something for you guys to keep your eyes out for. And then my book, and a few other things if you want to get my autograph, or you want to get my Amanda Kruger doll, action figure. And I also have 2 amazing Freddy heads that were sculpted by a woman in Turkey. They're also on my website, exclusive item you can only get there. That's all on my website. If you just have to remember how to spell my name, which is Beatrice Boepple. They'll probably tag it somewhere. Well, you can see it right here, beatriceboepple.com. And shows, I'm going to be at Terracon next weekend. I think it is next weekend in Marlborough, Maine, Massachusetts. And that's one of the biggest Elm Street gatherings that's been for a long time. I know Robert Englund is going to be there. Heather Langenkamp's going to be there.
Oh, yes. I've been seeing that pop up more.
Yeah. Mark's going to have to try to fly out there.
Yeah.
Great. And then Mark Patton and Kim from Elm Street 2, Lisa Wilcox, myself, Erica Hassel.
No Johnny Depp?
No Johnny Depp, no. Erica Anderson and Whit from Elm Street 5, along with Michael Haley Smith, the Super Freddy. He will be there. I think I'm missing a couple people, but there's a lot of Elm Street people that are going to be there, as well as, all kinds of other celebrities. So that's Terracon next weekend. And then in October, I have a show every weekend in October. One is Scarefest in Kentucky. I cannot wait. That I'm going with my podcast partner, John Henderson, Doomsday Crypt, which helped sponsor me for that show. And I'm actually going to be doing a yoga class, a chair stretch class at this convention. They've never done something like that before. So you can actually stretch with Amanda Kruger, stretch out your stress with Amanda Kruger. And then, KillCon. Oh, yeah, that's my book. Ooh, yeah, the book. That's my book.
I use that for the bookmark, so that worked out perfect.
Yeah, that was from my yoga book that I also have. But yeah, and then I'm doing KillCon in West Virginia, and I'm doing a tattoo.
Oh, a tattoo convention?
Yeah, in Pennsylvania next month.
Cool.
But
Somebody's going to have her picture and she's going to sign it and they're going to tattoo it on there.
there you go. We said we would give a prize to somebody if anyone ever did an Amanda Kruger tattoo. I don't know that anyone would, but if anyone did, I'd give some pretty amazing prize. But anyhow,
That's cool.
Hey, look, I'm up for a new tattoo, and I was already thinking about getting the Freddy Krueger claw. So maybe I can put Amanda's face in it.
Like a spooky little nun next to it or something. That'd be kind of cool. Floating behind with a little. You could even do the skeleton, Amanda, because people.
There you go.
Yeah. So. But
well, Miss B, we do appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you for your time. I know you've got family to get back to. We're not going to keep you hostage any longer.
All right. Well, I can yak on and on and on. So.
Thank you so much for your time tonight. It's been absolutely surreal, and hopefully we can get you back on and ask them some serious questions. Mark, no more. What was it like to act with? No.
Hey, no.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Jerry.
We definitely want to see you after you get done wrapped up with your other projects, and maybe talk about those as well.
You never know. She might come back on. When they do when they come back on for Blood Loss.
Right. There you
go. When Anthony comes back on, she might be on then too. You never know.
We like surprise guests. Those are really cool.
Hey, he said that he was going to get some of them to come out, some of the cast.
There you go.
So let's see.
All right. Well, it's been great chatting with you guys. And again, I apologize for the first miss.
Hey,
that's okay.
Yeah,
everybody's allowed
on purpose. So
not a problem.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. Good night, everybody. Yeah, you too, Jeremy. Oop, how do I go away? How do I run away?
Mark will do it, I think. There you go. Good. Well, guys, there you go. That was Beatrice.
Come on. There you go.
I was only going to mess it up for so long, so that was really cool of her to give us that interview. And guys, we don't like to turn it into an interview. It kind of happens. We want our guests to come on and feel very comfortable, very laid back, and we want you to talk about everything you want to talk about. Every once in a while, we're going to throw a question at you. That's it. So for our directors, for our producers, for our actors and actresses, just know that we're not going to hold you guys to 1,000 questions. We will never do that to you. Definitely want you to come on.
Maybe next week we might actually hold them to a few questions.
I just want them to come on and have a good time. That's what this show's all about. Talk shit with us.
Exactly. And who's on next week? Come on. You know it. Yes, you do.
No, I haven't been studying.
You haven't been studying?
No.
I'll give you a clue. His first name's Robert.
It's actually, we have two people, don't we? We have
podcasts, yes.
Two additional podcasts coming to join us, and that's Robert and so Robert from Robert from The Broken System, and then we have Deep Dark Secrets, and her name is, help me out again.
Starts with an L. LaDonna.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Have another one.
I'm not drinking anything. I got tea, bud. I'm not drinking any beers. What are you talking about? So I'm not going to blame it on that.
Well,
okay. So next week we'll have two podcasters coming on, and we're going to be talking about their shows and let them talk about what they want to talk about. A lot of stuff to catch up on with those folks, because they've both had a lot going on their shows. So if you guys have not,
Deep Dark Secret and Deep Dark Secret and the Broken Podcast System.
Broken System.
Yeah, Broken System. They've both been going to a lot of conventions.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear more about the conventions that they go to, and boy, are they expensive to go to. Because Robert's going to be in Orlando at the end of the month. $100 a ticket
to go.
Yeah.
Ay. So we got to figure out who's going.
If it was cheap enough,
I got $20.
If it was cheap enough, I was like, okay, and I'd figure a way. But
listen, if you end up going, you just got to take the portable system and just go do a live feed at the convention center.
After we end this feed, I'm going to give you an idea of something that I want to try to and see if it'll work. No, we didn't end yet.
Oh. Well, guys, from us here at Talking Shit, my name is Brian.
I'm Mark.
That's right.
And we're out of here.
We're out of here.
Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back?